History shows that countries have tended to embrace international opportunities in waves and cycles. They really break out into global activity by themselves. They participate in collective movements or networks to take advantage of new conditions. Globalization is the opening of local and nationalistic perspective to a broader outlook of an interconnected and interdependent world with free transfer of capital, goods, and services across national frontiers. According to World Health Organization, globalization can be defined as the increased interconnectedness and interdependence of peoples and countries. It is generally understood to include two interrelated elements, that is, the opening of international borders to increasingly fast flows of goods, services, finance, people, and ideas, and the changes in institutions and policies at national and international levels that facilitate or promote such flows. Together with economic and financial globalization, there has obviously also been cultural globalization. Indeed, the multiplication of economic and financial exchanges has been followed by an increase in human exchanges such as migration, expatriation, or traveling. These human exchanges have contributed to the development of cultural exchanges. This means that different customs and habits shared among local communities have different procedures and different beliefs. On an individual level, globalization has affected the standard of life, quality of life of individuals and families throughout the world. Standard of living is the level wealth, comfort, material goods, and necessities available to a certain socio-economic class in a certain geographic area. Quality of life is the degree to which a person enjoys the important possibility of his or her life. In many instances, quality of life has improved for those who live in developing nations. For many developing nations, globalization has led to an improvement in standard of living through improved roads and transportation, improved healthcare, and improved education due to global expansion of corporations. Globalization refers to several different concepts all rolled into one package. It may refer to the ease in which businesses conduct operations in different countries other than their own. Some look at this concept as a way to create a world without national borders. There are concepts of communication, information access, and technology development to consider when looking at this subject matter too. Even though the geographic size of our planet remains consistent, how we interact with each other is changing by the minute. Despite more than 200 countries independently working for their best interests, we all come together in a way to make the world a better place. If you have access to a computer or mobile device, then you can communicate with anyone else in the world with the same setup. Further, the advantages and disadvantages of globalization show that even though progress occurs, we also take a step backwards. This video representation will illustrate the individual perspective on globalization, for which I got a chance to have a word with Mrs. Bhavishya Gupta, who has been in the education sector for over 25 years and has seen the changes and effects brought up by globalization. Hi, how are you? Thank you for joining me today for this interview.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and I'm fine, I'm good. And how are you?
I'm good. Can you please tell us a little bit about yourself to our viewers?
Well, I'm Anju Gupta, and I'm a teacher. I've been teaching for so many years, and especially literature and the language part mostly. And I'm very happy that my students are well placed all over the world. And this because English being a global language, and it's needed right now. So they are well placed, and I'm very happy with that.
That's great. I really agree with your point that English is a global language right now and it's needed by students all over the world. So, can you tell me a little bit more about your work or your occupation that how you started it and how is it going right now for you?
Well, I started very, I can say, near about 25 years back. I started teaching students, and it really created a passion in me. Like when you are giving to students and when students are receiving at a very good level, right? It's like a communication between the teacher and the student, and you could have a whiteboard or blackboard where you could communicate with them, argue with them, and discussions and everything. That was really a good point at that time, and that was only the means that we could use, like audio visuals. Like we have the smart classes right now, and we are using the net connections right now in the classrooms, but not then. It was very different from right now what we are having, right?
So from the beginning, you have been always teaching in schools, or you have been teaching universities or any other type of institutions as well?
I started with the school, and then gradually I moved towards the colleges too, and I used to give lectures, and then some institutions also. That slowly, as every student was moving towards different directions of the world. So at the time, the MNCs had started to recruit people from all over the world, and a language was needed which was understood all over the world. Same, not with the accent, not with any kind of a linguistic accent. So this is where I thought that yes, I can contribute to this.
So you are a teacher, you have the experience of teaching and you have experience of gaining new things every day. So considering that, I want to ask you that how different it is now from the time period you started your occupation. How different it is, what things have upgraded this occupation, what skill sets are now needed for getting into the teaching line. I guess nowadays teaching is not limited to in the classroom or having a face-to-face communication. I think it's so much more, and you can put a light on that.
When you are right on that point that it's no longer a face-to-face communication, it's more to that. Earlier it was like we were like restricted to books or the grammar books, or we didn't have any kind of audios. I could just encourage the students to read more and watch English movies, and even the songs. I would encourage them to listen to songs so that they could catch the lyrics and they could catch the words. Everything is available, right, on net, or there are so many sites that who are having the English proficiency and the correction of grammar, correction of spellings and everything. But teaching is basically face to face. Yes, these things, these modules do help. They can be helpful, but teaching is face to face. It's more effective when it is a teacher-student communication.
So, do you think you have faced any threat because of new technological updates, or there are many more options available for those who want to get into the same line? They are developing more skill sets so that they can be into the competition. So, do you think you feel the threat because of these updates?
Sometimes, yes, I do feel there is a threat to my profession and of course my career too. But then I have to upgrade myself, right? I keep myself upgraded with the latest devices, with the latest websites and everything. But eventually, it is my own experience that is helping me out. Sometimes to some extent, yes. More thing that there are so many, like the whole thing has, with the privatization, it's also affected now, right? There are so many institutions and so many centers mushrooming every day. like proclaiming that yes, they are good and they are the best and everything, and yes, it has affected the career. And with that, you have to move ahead with the time. You have to upgrade yourself. Like you have to keep your study material ready, and you have to know that what's going on in the world, and you have to know that. So that is also a threat to professions when the whole thing goes under privatization, right? But the technology is keeping it like it is bounded to some extent. Like you have to do certain things and you have to do only this thing, and a teacher is never satisfied unless and until he or she gives his best, right? And it is the inner knowledge that a teacher wants to impart rather than the printed knowledge or tech knowledge and everything like that. That's it. Yes, globalization has hit it.
So, feel that way?
See,
So, if you consider now, because of increase in competition, do you ever feel to transit to any other occupation, or do you believe that you want to upgrade yourself and get into the market of education and be into in the competition? Do you feel that way?
in fact, I have started a new venture also besides my teaching, because in these times you cannot, you have to upgrade your skills, and you cannot survive on only one profession. You have to have two professions to be on the safer side. And because it has eventually hit, globalization has hit the teaching profession, because computers have taken in, and the internet has taken in the place of teachers.
Well, do you think in the future it's going to grow more, or is it going to be tough for this profession?
It's going to be tough for this profession. It's definitely going to be tough for this profession, because students do have more options than a single teacher. They can spread globally. They can communicate through internet to a teacher who is in America, who is in another country. That has given the advantage to the student. But a profession of a teacher who is teaching, yes, his profession is hit. Definitely, it is hit.
After communicating with Mrs. Anju, different aspects of globalization has been witnessed, focusing mainly on education sector. Indeed, the world has dramatically changed over the past 20 years, and while economics have rapidly adjusted to these changes, the societies have found these changes harder to accept and adjust to new realities. ICTs are revolutionizing both teaching and learning methods. Distance learning is rapidly gaining ground everywhere in the world, which reflects one of the advantages of globalization, that is exchange of knowledge and understanding great range of products availability. Also, ICT skills are among the most important competencies today, which includes the demand of skill enhancement today due to surge in job opportunities and competition. The impacts of globalization on education sector seems to be more challenging than promising. Globalization is increasing world economic interdependence, which in turn enhances competition among countries and modifies the world distribution of labor. The challenge for education sector is, on one hand, they need to update their knowledge and skills more often than before, and on the other hand, they must change jobs frequently. Globalization leads to more cultural interchange between countries and to greater social heterogeneity in terms of culture, ethnicity, language, and religion. Individuals are expected to learn more foreign languages. Globalization increases social and economic disparities at the expense of social cohesion, necessitating improvement in quality education. Globalization is leading to the internationalization of education, notably higher education, which presents several risks for students. This implies we are no longer citizens of one country but also citizens of the world. In many industrialized countries, there is a persistent problem of illiteracy and low skills, which is an important source of social exclusion. Unequal access to education also fuels growing wage inequality and worsens the income distribution. The uneducated and unskilled in industrialized countries face severe disadvantage in an increasingly competitive global market. All countries which have benefited from globalization have invested significantly in their education and training systems. Today, women and men need broad-based skills which can adapt to rapidly changing economic requirements, as well as appropriately basic skills which enable them to benefit from information technology, increasing their ability to overcome barriers of distance and budgetary limitations. While internet technology is not particularly capital intensive, it is very human capital intensive. In today's global economy and information society, knowledge and information are the key to social inclusion, and productivity and connectivity is the key to global competitiveness. Technology capability is essential. Countries need the communication infrastructure and the production system which can process and use information for development, and people must access to the knowledge and the ability to use it. In order to participate, take advantage of and be creative in the new technological environment that puts education and skills at the center of a fair, inclusive globalization. To conclude, I would like to state that globalization is an element that affects the country and its individuals. The factor of globalization should be accepted by the people who imply it, and that can only be possible if they accept it and upgrade themselves with it. The true outcome of globalization can only be seen if negative impacts are addressed well and efforts are made to derive the best, which would lead the world to grow as one.